Tens across the board.
Step aside, the mic is on. I never finish a sentence, I ramble on. I'm Evan, here's the twonk. Face like a baby, but I drink like a drunk. Ripping to the mic, and I can't sit still. You can hear me spit on the rumor mill. Wanna hear more? Go to Patreon. I'm training for the day that Taylor's gone.
Hey, girl, it's your world. When you walk the street, step into the beat. Hey, kitty girl, get your twirl in the disco heat. You're the boogie body rockin' queen.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, I'm the sickest of them all. Cough, 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 diabetes. Wanna get with me? Better eat your Wheaties. Join the show in season 8. Back next year, I vacillate. It's Latte Boy, the voice of reason. Taylor's back for another season.
Hey, girl, it's your world. When you walk the street, step into the beat. Hey, kitty girl, get your twirl in the disco heat. You're the boogie body rockin' queen.
Step into the plate, I'm Joe Betance. No other recap show even stands a chance. Maybe I'm short, maybe I'm fat. Sasha says,
Don't joke about that.
with Taylor and Evan right by my side, those other recap shows better run and hide. We're the best damn show, won't say it again. Get your pussies ready, this is season
Hey,
10.
kitty girl, it's your world. When you walk the street, step into the beat. Hey, kitty girl, get your twirl in the disco heat. You're the boogie body rockin' queen. 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 Boogie body rockin' queen.
Hi, Evan, it's Dan, your boyfriend. Are you dating me or RuPaul's Drag Race?
Hey Taylor, this is Taffy from Pod as My Co-Pilot. Remember us? The little show that could? When is this nonsense going to be over with drag queens? We miss you.
Kitty, kitty, hey, kitty, kitty, hey, kitty, kitty, yeah, oh, kitty, kitty, hey, kitty, kitty, hey, kitty, kitty, yeah, oh.
Are you ready for a recap show?
He won't let us go, we're in Mexico.
We just wanna see our numbers grow.
No matter what you know, stay away from Joe.
Hey, kitty girl,
RuPaul's Drag Race.
gentlemen, start your engine.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
May the best woman win.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
May the best woman win.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race recap show for season 10, episode 0, Meet the Queen. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one temporarily single co-host. From the podcast Pod is my co-pilot. Please say
I don't define drag. Drag is defined by me.
to Taylor, the Latte Boy. Hello, newly single Taylor, the Latte Boy. How are you?
Living the bachelor life, that's me. Living the dream. I am currently in my underwear as we tape this.
Are you
And I'm
really?
fine with it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Totally.
Oh, don't show me, don't show me, don't show me.
It's just.
Ah!
I mean, I'm wearing a polo shirt. I am classy.
That's what he's using. Yeah. He you know, like when like a little sex kitten, you know, like wakes up the next day after hooking up with a guy and she's wearing the man's shirt. And it just covers her nether regions. That's you right now. That's he's just
me.
wearing a polo shirt and it just covers just enough of the latte.
I sat down wrong on my huevos. Sorry.
I'm glad
This week.
I'm glad I wasn't talking. Now I have next week's sound and I have Friday's sound clip ready to go. I am so glad I was not. Well, you know what? They're an isolated track, so I would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah.
But, well, Taylor the Latte Boy, welcome to season 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
It's like we haven't done one of these in forever.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been so long since we have talked about a show about men in dresses walking down a runway to music.
Yeah, what a long hiatus we've had here.
We're like Will and Grace, that they disappeared for years and then they came back. So
yeah,
it's the same.
I had to dust the cobwebs off. I forgot how to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So are you anticipating the next 12, 13 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, are we ready to talk about our feelings about the show? Should I explain why I'm single first before like people think that something happened?
You got divorced.
No, don't put that out in the universe. No, I didn't get divorced. So no, my husband Babalu had an opportunity to go to Tokyo for 10 days with a buddy of his. Mm-hmm. So he is currently, as we speak, he just left San Francisco International Airport. Mm-hmm. He left probably about 30 minutes ago. So he's in my favorite part of the trip to worry about and have no control over. He's over the Pacific Ocean at this point for the next 14 hours. And then he is spending some time in Tokyo and Okinawa and Kyoto.
I'm going to tell you something. As someone who's flown, I haven't flown quite to Japan, but I've flown over the Pacific Ocean. I've gone to Hawaii several times in my life, and also flown to Florida. The scariest part was from Florida to San Francisco. The turbulence over the Rockies is horrible. I remember one time, it's funny. I know there are a lot of people who hate taking off and landing. I love taking off and landing. My favorite parts of the air. Love them.
No, I don't like landing. I like taking off. I don't like landing.
Love landing. It's my favorite part. I love landing, right? I hate turbulence more than life itself. Hate it.
Yeah.
And the turbulence over the Rockies is so bad, especially coming from Florida to California. I don't know why. And I remember one time, I remember it was really bad, and the lights were off in the airplane, and everyone was just super quiet, and I was just meditating, and I look, and there are these two young girls with rosaries and prayer cards praying, and that just made me more nervous.
This is really helping. My husband is currently in the air right now.
No, that was over the Rockies. The smoothest flights I've ever been on have been over the Pacific.
Okay.
Super, 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 super smooth. Like the most wonderful flights I've ever been on. Like there's no, I haven't had very many. I mean, maybe a little like for a second, but but in terms of turbulence, anything I get over flying over the country, no, it's like the smoothest flight ever. You can fall asleep. You can sleep like a baby. Is Babalu able to sleep on airplanes?
He apparently takes little power naps is what he called it, because he's in pretty much the flight is something like 22 hours total.
Yeah.
So he said that I said, because he's like, I'm not going to sleep. And so he brought his Switch with him, and he had a million different gadgets and all that kind of stuff. And I said, you're going to take some naps, because he went to Taiwan last year just to visit with this friend who works over there at a school, at an American school. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much said, I took a little power naps, but it's okay. I'll be fine. So whatever.
So he's done this flight before, a similar flight.
Yes. I will occasionally tonight wake up numerous times and look at the app on my phone that follows the plane to make sure that it's still in the air. Mm-hmm.
So you do get genuinely nervous.
I left him really early this morning. I took him to the airport, and I definitely, when I gave him a kiss as he was walking away, I gave him a hug, and I didn't want to let go of him just because I was just like, oh God, if something happens, this is the last time I'm seeing. And I didn't no, you have a good time. I didn't I was shaking him and crying or anything, but I was just like, have a good time, say yes to any possible new experience, and don't get involved with the Yakuza. Those were the rules that I gave him. Oh, and he also has to bring me back. He has to bring me back a red panda. That's what I want as my souvenir. I want a red panda from the rainforest of Japan.
But wait, let me ask you this question: is he going to go to Tokyo Disney?
No.
Oh, why not?
Because according to him, and that has been everybody has asked, because we're big Disney nerds. Mm-hmm. You're going to go to Tokyo Disney, right? And he was like, no, because everything that I've heard, Tokyo Disney is pretty much identical to Magic Kingdom, I think. It's either Magic Kingdom or Disneyland.
I think it's very close to Disneyland.
Right. So he said, so that's something that, when I go out to Los Angeles sometime, I could just go to Disneyland. And I said, okay, that's fine, but we're not going out to Disneyland. I'm going out to Disneyland sometime soon, but you're not. But also the swag alone he collects these Starbucks mugs, the Wish You Were Here or something like that, where they all have very And I'm like, just that for the mug alone. But he said, no, it's far enough out of the way of Tokyo that it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not exactly in Tokyo. And also they have rides that are exclusive to
Well, they have
Tokyo
that whole
Disney.
sea park. There's a whole park that's like an underwater theme park. And I said, just go for that. And he's like, well, they only have like 3 rides. And okay, girl, do what you want to do.
What does he? Yeah. But now let me ask you this. One of the things that Taylor and I are going to be doing when he's here in Los Angeles in June for the finale is we are going to take a visit to the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California, and they have a company store there. And it's pretty much a Disney store, but there is in the back a company store specific with stuff that you can only buy at the studio. Will you be loading up there?
I will be, yes. At the very least, for my co-host Taffy Carlisle Huffington, we will be. Yeah. I will be getting her stuff, but I will definitely get. I still have the cup that you got me.
Oh yeah, I know.
The Tervis, the not real Tervis.
Well, former co-host of the show, Daniel Brewer. So I say, I want to buy, I know Taylor the Latte Boy enjoys this stuff, I want to buy him something. He goes, oh, well, buy him this cup. He loves these cups. It's a Tervis tumbler. I go, it is? And he goes, yep. So I buy this cup and I send it to Taylor. And Taylor's, not a Tervis tumbler.
Okay, that is not how I said it. And then I sent him a video of me smashing it against the street in front of my house. And then he
just pointed at it and laughed at it. Now, I have another question for you.
Sure.
How long after you got home today were you just like...
masturbating? 5 minutes.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
I should totally do that as a video podcast.
Yeah, you should totally do that.
No, I haven't done that yet, though I made a joke about that today in a support group I was running, where somebody asked me a similar question, and I said, well, I could do that, but I would just keep going, and you would hear the crash into the bookshelf, and then, like, books falling into that.
That's the way everyone knows. That's what Taylor looks like right now. Like, just his little tiny whiteies and his polo shirt just covering his...
I am not in tidy white. I couldn't tell you the last time I wore tidy whities. That had to have been in... high school, I think. No, college. Because I got my first pair of Calvin Klein boxer briefs. I think I was a junior. So up till that point, I would wear tidy whities.
Wait, I'm sorry. I need to do this. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention this. Evan, this is from the movie Risky Business. It's actually probably the most famous Tom Cruise scene of all time, wouldn't you say?
I would think so.
And he's like a young man, and his parents leave, and he slides into the room in the shot.
And he's in an Oxford and tighty whities and white socks.
And sunglasses.
What?
Isn't he wearing sunglasses?
Oh, yes, and he has on sunglasses, too.
Yeah,
that's not the part I was focused on. The part I was focused on is when he falls on his back on the couch and he shakes his legs and you kind of see his, taint area in his butt.
Oh, well,
you don't actually see, no, you don't see like his actual ass crack, but I mean, it's where it's an odd angle and his junk is all kind of, this is the subtle observations of an 11-year-old gay boy watching HBO in 1983, and he does this thing where he just lays on his back, and he does like where he shakes, he does this sort of thing, and all of his kibbles and bit Jimmy a little bit. I see you getting ready. All these seasons, you think I would know at this point. Before you do it, though. And you can cut this part out. Well, I guess you can't cut this part out because you're still playing the music. Are you playing the song before this one, or are you playing the song tomorrow night for tomorrow night's show?
No, we did it before this one.
Were we going to talk about it?
Do you want to talk about it?
I think we should talk about it.
Okay, what do you want to say about it?
So, all right, well, because I said before you go to the thing.
Well, now I'm keeping this in.
No, you can't keep all this in. Oh, my God, you're such a dick. So, the song.
Yeah?
The song that was our intro to season 10.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos, Mr. Betance.
Thank you.
Your songwriting skills are on point.
Everyone should know I wrote the song "Hey Kitty Girl."
Well, yes, you wrote the song. Yes, that's why we were so excited to see it.
Yeah, we were like, oh my God, I just submitted it to RuPaul in the back of a cereal box, and they actually chose it
on the back of a cereal box. Yeah. Are you in 1967?
Yeah, and then Ricky Lake played me. Let's be honest, Divine played me.
Yeah. I loved the song.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely out of my comfort zone to do the rap, but I did it and sent it to you. and was not disappointed at all. You sent it to me the morning that we're taping this, just that I got to hear it, and I sent it to my co-host on Pod as my co-pilot, and they both were amazed by it. So thank you very much for working as hard as you did on that.
Thank you.
I think it's a fun way to start the new season.
Thank you. You know what's so funny? Maybe one day I'll play. Maybe I'll play on a rumor mill or something. But I wrote yours and Evan's right away, and I was sort of struggling with mine. And then right when I sat down to write mine, and I really do not remember, but something really pissed me off. Like right when I sat down to write mine, something really pissed me off, and I wrote a really, really dark verse, and I sang it. And I sent it because he's 26 or something. I was running all the lyrics by Patreon co-host Evan Ayers. Because I wanted to get his feel for it, as a young gay boy. And
you knew not to send the dark lyrics to the therapist?
That's true, too, actually. And I go, do you think this is too dark? And he was like, oh, Jesus. He goes, yeah, that's really dark.
I'm going to want to hear that. You're going to have to send it to me after we're done taping.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try and find it when we're done taping. Maybe I'll play, Form Decor.
Okay.
We'll play it on Form Decor. We'll play it on Form Decor.
Oh, see, you dangling that carrot because I said I didn't know if I wanted to do a Form Decor tonight. God damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Like super, super dark. It's like, it was like, but then once I got in a better mood and I had some coffee or whatever, then I wrote the one. But I feel badly because I was like, I just wanted to get my verse out, you know? And, I have this rule, and the rule is if you're going to make fun of other people, then you have to make fun of yourself twice as much. And so my verse, like I said, was so dark. It said horrible, horrible things about me. And but then when I rewrote it, I was just so happy to not have such dark lyrics. Well, I guess I said I was fat and short.
Yeah, but that's every episode you say.
Yeah.
To
so, but I did play the song for Sweet Michael today, and he laughed and he said, Did you write these lyrics? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I could tell because you're really good at being mean to people. And I was like, oh, that was shady. So, all right. Well, every week VH1 releases a sneak peek for each episode. And this week we got the entire set of workroom entrances. On this episode, we're going to focus solely on the workroom entrances of each of the drag queens. If you want to save the surprise of the workroom entrances for the premiere of the new episode, stop listening right now and come back when you've finished watching the episode. That said, the first one into the workroom was...
Oh, like a phoenix from the ashes, Eureka is back. I'm Eureka, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to be back for real. I was like, want to die.
All right, Taylor the Latte Boy, your thoughts on Eureka? She's no longer O'Hara on the show. So what are your thoughts on Eureka?
I thought she looked great. I loved the whole Phoenix outfit. One thing that I've seen over the year since she was on season 9 is there definitely, and she talks about this, there's been an evolution to her where she kind of looked messy when she first came on last year in that pink and blue thing. Mm-hmm. This year, she looks more polished. She looks more put together. I know she talks later about not feeling confident, but she looked more confident. She looked like she felt more. I mean, you would have to be confident kind of to wear that enormous headdress and the shoulder pads and all that kind of thing. So I was glad to see her. I know that she was somebody that we weren't necessarily huge fans of in season 9. And then you and I got to interview her last year. And then I really loved that interview. That's one of my favorite things we've ever done on the show. So she definitely has somebody that's rooting for her this year and me. What about you?
Yeah, I thought she looked fantastic. I thought she's clearly, she has an advantage over anybody who's ever been on Drag Race, is she's gotten that first, couple episodes out of the way. So she knows what it's like to be on the show and to come back. It's almost like she's on All Stars. And so, but playing against people who are new.
Yeah, but I think that her statement that people think that I'm super confident and I know what I got, but I'm actually scared. It's something that she talks about when they're all standing in front of Ru, because that does make her a bigger target, because they do want to, you would think that on some level they would want to try to get her out of the way because she's already technically had her chance, possibly according to the other queens.
Yeah, but true. But this isn't like All Stars where they actually could get rid of her. This is all Rue makes the decisions, and I actually think her workroom entrance is the kind of outfit that a person who's been on the show, who now was able to use the notoriety from the show to make some coin, if you will, to go out and buy better outfits. And she had a year knowing that she's going to be back on the show.
There are times that I've seen pictures of her on Tumblr and stuff where like posters for
it's a funny joke because she hurt her knee tumbling.
No, shut up. No, it's where where you and when I say this isn't going to sound, it's not a read, but it doesn't even look like her where she's got in contacts and her makeup. She sometimes wears makeup that's pretty severe, but when she does her makeup really soft, there's one picture that I could think of where she had this like platinum blonde long wig on that was sort of flowing. She almost looked like an ice princess, and she was beautiful in this thing. And then at the bottom of it, it said Eureka O'Hara. I was like, holy shit, she looks great.
Well, now we saw she's dropped the O'Hara, and now she's just Eureka.
Okay. Well, but I mean, I knew her as Eureka O'Hara.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Now, what you brought up that we interviewed her last year, but that's the reason why I have a new policy that I will no longer interview. Well, that's not true. I'm going to interview drag queens at DragCon. I'm going to try and interview as few drag queens as possible, because what happens is when you interview them and you get to know them, then it's harder to say objective things about them. Like you even just said, now you're rooting for her now because you interviewed her.
Well, okay. But I mean, if she had come on and she had been a cunt, then that would be something where I'm like, oh, I hope she's the first to go. I mean, I enjoyed my experience with her, and that on top of watching her evolve over the last year through photos and through videos and experiences, that kind of stuff, that is helping me to where I'm rooting for her. I'm going to say this as a spoiler ahead of time, not a spoiler, but just a spoiler for me, that with the possible exception of like 2 or 3, I really like this cast.
No, yeah,
it's going to be very hard for me to not root for the majority of the cast.
Yeah, maybe it's as a backlash against. Well, no, last season was pretty RuPaul's Best Friend race too. I don't know maybe everyone's gunning now because they know that there's a life after the show. But I was very encouraged when pulling the clips. You hear a lot of cheering when everyone walks in, like a lot of warmth. There isn't like, and we'll get to Aquaria. The only really kind of salty one was Aquaria, but she was the last one in. So they were all very encouraging of all the other queens and very warm to each other.
I would say this cast may be the one. My theory on this is they're all gunning for Miss Congeniality at this stage, at least for the most part, or what's now called fan favorite. But I think that at least early on, while everybody's game is still, while everybody's defenses are still up, we're all still in that Miss Congeniality place. Cut to next week when there's a fist fight between 4 of them.
Well, look, we'll get to it, but I think there's a little bit of a rumor of a little bit of a dust up. But by the way, the show's never officially said that they're going to call it fan favorite. They've never said that. That's just,
no, I know.
Yeah, okay. All right, next into the workroom, Asia O'Hara.
Well, guys, Texas is back in the house.
My name is Asia O'Hara, and I am the superstar of Dallas, Texas. I'm known for doing pageants, but I'm also a versatile performer. Every queen should be able to pull a couple different tricks out of the bag.
All right, Taylor the Latte Boy, your thoughts on Asia O'Hara?
I think Asia is gorgeous. She's very, very pretty. Asia is the first of many queens tonight that I feel, on appearance alone, especially from this and also the Meet the Queens video that they released a couple weeks ago, that I feel like we are seeing the copy of a previous queen. And Asia, when they've interviewed Asia and watching Asia walk in, my first thought is Peppermint. She looks like Peppermint.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. I hesitate on drawing other comparisons. I see what you're saying. Like, for instance, again, Aquaria's the last one in, so we'll talk about her last. But I felt like Aquaria sounded nearly, even though she's Sharon Needles' drag daughter, she sounds a lot like Willem.
See, okay, it's funny. Well, no, never mind. Forget I said that. Okay.
So I see what you're saying here, but I don't know if I'm actively trying to draw to not draw comparisons, or I just did. That's the only real experience I had on that show of drawing a comparison to anybody else.
As we talk about these queens, I definitely, when Babalu and I watched this last night, I was saying under my breath, as certain ones came out, well, that's this one, and that's this one. Again, in appearance alone, but hopefully that doesn't skew when certain queens act certain ways where I think, well, that's not the way you're supposed to act because you're not, that's not the way Peppermint would have acted, or that's not the way, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but I liked her. I got a good feeling from her. And I also like the fact that this also, one thing that I seem to like about a lot of them is they all seem really smart. They all seem like people that have not only studied the game, but also recognize the need for versatility. Even though we definitely have some, Broadway babies, as they were saying, or we have some pageant queens, we have some comedy queens. I love the fact that there is more than one big girl. Mm-hmm. It's not just Eureka. Mm-hmm. It's calorie. We'll talk about her later. But I like the group feels very mixed up. It doesn't feel like it's one set versus another set so far.
Yeah. Asia O'Hara, yes, you walked in, you could tell when they said that she's like really famous and she's well known in the drag circuit and the pageant circuit. I was like, you can tell she's very polished.
Polished, yes. That's a good word to describe her.
Very, very polished. She looked fantastic. She looked great. She's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next into the workroom.
Okay, it's time for dinner! I'm Miss Cracker. I'm thin, I'm white, and I'm very salty. And that's what makes me a cracker. As a performer, I'm wild. Barbie on bath salts. Come for the face, stay for the crazy.
Taylor the Latte Boy, Miss Cracker, your thoughts?
Miss Cracker feels like the big personality of the season so far. She looks like the one that, but not big personality like, I'm trying to think of somebody that was big personality that was annoying.
Joey Boohecker?
I can't think of somebody off the top of my head, but kind of like Adore Delano in the beginning. Laganja Stranja, somebody that's the big personality that's very look at me. Mm-hmm. She's somebody that I really like. I thought she looked great. She had the big ball hair or something.
Was that a grapefruit in her hair? Yeah. That's what Asia said. What's funny is I had a very positive reaction to Ms. Cracker. And the reason I think it's funny is she's the kind of person that I would generally not have a positive reaction to. Like that dumb entrance with I don't think it's dumb, actually it worked with it's time for dinner, but like someone who usually comes in and does something like that, I generally have an adverse reaction to, and I didn't have that with her. I liked her from the get-go. There was something, and maybe she's a little self-effacing, but she's funny, and and I'm going to say something very controversial here. I give Trixie all the respect that's due, Trixie Mattel. But I feel Ms. Cracker accomplishes a lot of what Trixie Mattel wants to be. I think I feel like Ms. Cracker nails it. Not that Trixie isn't successful in her own right, but let me rephrase. When I saw Trixie was going to be on the show, I had feelings of how I thought Trixie would be or should be, and she wasn't. And she sort of let me down on season 7. But Ms. Cracker, so far from what I've seen, has lived up to what I felt Trixie Mattel should have been or could have been on season 7.
Okay.
Does that make sense? She's doing it for me. She delivers it for me. So I'm a big fan of Ms. Cracker. Anything else on Ms. Cracker, Taylor?
No.
All right, let's go to the next queen, Yuha Hamasaki.
Can you feel the shade?
What the? I'm Yuha Hamasaki. I'm blonde, ambitious,
and I'm theaters.
My drag style is glamorous. Big lashes, makeup done, and I have all of my teeth.
I thought it was funny. How my teeth. Taylor, your thoughts on Yuha? Wait, Yuha Hamasaki.
Yuhua?
Yuha.
Yuhua.
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 Okay. No, Yuhua.
Yuhua?
Racist jokes with the recap, guys. Again, somebody that I liked. I liked the she's very quick on her feet when she said she's Chinese, and I think it's Ms. Cracker said that's Japanese, and she goes, "You're not a real woman." I mean, like that she was able to think of that pretty quickly. She was somebody again. She's a queen of color, which I like. The only Asian queen, I think, this season. I liked her. I don't know how far she's going to go.
Yeah, that's a good question. How far? Let you know what? We haven't done this. How far? I unfortunately I can't play this game this season because I know too much. I host a show called The Rumor Mill. But I would love to get your thoughts on how far you think these girls are going to go.
By the way, speaking of things like that, somebody, one of our listeners, posted on our Facebook page a picture of a spreadsheet. Oh yeah, that kind of showed where everybody. Have you taken that down?
Oh no, I guess we should, huh?
Could you please? Because I started to see it and was like, and then that
like erase from my memory. Yeah.
Yes, and unfortunately, I think I know who's all the way at the top, so I think I know who wins. But
we don't know who wins.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Because you said something like this isn't completely right. This isn't accurate from what you've heard.
There's some controversy about one of the queens at the top.
Okay. All right. So going back from the beginning, Eureka. I think Eureka. So let's do top half, bottom half.
Okay.
Or I'm good. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try to say I think she's going to go home ninth. I think Eureka is going to go bottom half, but close to the middle.
All right.
Okay. Who was the next one to come in?
Asia O'Hara.
I think Asia O'Hara is going to be top half.
Okay.
All right. Who was the next one to come in? Was Ms. Cracker.
Ms. Cracker.
I think Ms. Cracker is going to go top half, but close to the middle.
All right. And
Yuhua. I have a feeling Yuhua is going to be bottom half.
Okay. Well.
Okay. So should I be keeping track then?
Do you want to keep track?
Well, because eventually it's going to be, there's, 9 of them are in the top half, and only that's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe we should wait till the end.
Okay. All right.
So let me write down real fast while you're playing the next queen coming in. I will write down who I said for top half and bottom half.
Yeah. So I'll just give my thoughts on Yuhua really fast. I thought she was really funny. I think she had a lot of personality, but in a friendly way. I loved her look. I liked everything about her. I was buying the whole package. I'm a fan. Let's go to the next queen.
I'm Blair St. Clair. Just got here this morning. My name is Blair St. Clair, and I am the Broadway diva extraordinaire. Blair is a small-town girl. Just got off the bus looking for fame any way she can.
All right. Now, Taylor, I see you're still writing, so what I'll say is this. I bet there are a lot of people who saw this Blair St. Clair and they were thinking...
I already know where you're going.
They're like, Joe Betance right now has taken the bacon fat out of his refrigerator. He's lit some candles, put some Peebo Bryson on the CD player, and he's getting comfortable, right? I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a knock against Blair St. Clair. Doesn't do it for me.
Really? Oh, because when she first came on as a boy... Babalu and I both went, oh, Joe. I mean, we both said it knowing that it was just, you could just hear the wet bottle just going into your hand, going to town.
There is a queen that does it for me, but it's not Blair St. There are 2 queens that I find very attractive. One will probably be pretty obvious, and it's not Blair St. Clair, and the other one will not be so obvious.
Okay. I will say, Blair St. Clair, I love the aesthetic. I love what she's going for. I love it's very Mary Tyler Moore when she came running in. And I'm all about, we've talked about how I love the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yeah.
She looks like she's 13 as a boy. She kind of gave me, well, she's Broadway baby, but she kind of gave me somebody that is very young, but has tons of knowledge. And it very much not in looks, but Violet Chachki, where she could throw out any fashion designer from the 70s or any who wrote what book for what Broadway play and who won the Tony for Best Supporting Actress in 1983. Like, she's one of those that could just rattle that stuff off.
She's Evan Ayres, but for this show.
Yeah, well, no, but she knows stuff about Broadway.
Yeah.
So she is somebody else that I really like for the season. And I think she's great. I think she's great. It's just so weird when they show her as a boy because she looks 13.
Yeah, that doesn't do it for me. Not literally, not a single thing is done for me with Blair St. Clair as a boy. I do like her aesthetic as a girl, though. You're right. I do like her aesthetic as a girl from what I've seen so far. I really like. Now, you know that Patreon co-host Evan Ayres and his boyfriend were out one night in Washington, D.C. and ran into Blair St. Clair. She was performing somewhere. And according to Evan Ayres, she was into him and Dan and was like talking to them and obsessed with them. I feel drag queens are just like almost like strippers and just do that.
Yeah.
But
have we told my stripper story on here?
Oh, no, but please don't let that stop you. I'm very curious to actually hear this.
Color Joe intrigued.
Yeah.
Years. This is going back 20 years ago. I didn't say I'm a stripper in this story. So there used to be a bar in Tampa called Angels, and they had stripper. It was a gay bar named Angels, and they had strippers. And there was a bunch of us from work that used to go, and they would just get down to a G-string. They didn't go fully nude or anything, but it was something where we would go there. We would watch a couple strippers. I worked with a couple of guys that were slightly older than me. They would do the creepy thing where they would shove dollar bills in their, junk and have conversations and that, and then just kind of take off. So there was this one guy one night that was beautiful. He was totally gorgeous. I was totally a smitten kitten at this when this guy's dancing. He was probably dancing to like Pony by Genuine. So that kind of plays the scene out. As to what's going on at this point. I just made Joe laugh. So that's my day is done because I got Joe to laugh. So eventually he wanders over to our table and we're all having this conversation. And he's like totally like locked eyes with me. And he's having this conversation about what he wants to do and da-da-da-da-da. And he finds out I'm a social worker and he's, I want to go back to school and I want to do this and blah, 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 sort of thing. Fine. So cut to 2 weeks later, I go back to Angels with my coworkers. And of course, at this point now, short of showing up in the tuxedo with the thing of roses and the top hat, where I'm just thinking like, where's Pedro? Where's Pedro? What's going on? Where's Pedro? Sort of thing. So Genuine Pony plays again, or whatever the song is that he's playing at this point. And he comes out and he dances and everybody all does their thing and everything. And he comes over and he sits up next to me and he starts talking to me and he has the exact same speech that he had 2 weeks before. And the guys that I'm working with are both sitting there looking at each other and they both have their heads down because I am crushed at this point. Because I figured I was still cute. I was like 28. He was probably like 23. In my stupid head, because I was so fucking lonely, I thought this stripper's going to fall in love with me and I'm going to be the one. It's going to be Richard Gere and Julia Roberts all over again. And I'm just going to be da-da-da-da. No. We ended up at the IHOP that night, me and my coworkers, and I probably drowned my sorrows in maple syrup. You know what's so funny that I've had a similar experience in the past couple of days. I mean, I'm older now, so I don't care, But for Patreon, I interviewed remember all the way back in All-Star Season 3, they did that music video? Months ago, yeah. Oh, yeah, all the way there. See, I barely remember All-Star Season 3, but the one thing I do remember was that there was this one dancer who, I fucked the camera. I didn't fuck the camera. He was I fucking the camera, right? Yeah, when you said that like that for a second, I took a pause wow, you really were smitten. Yeah. And his name's Jake Dupree, right? I'll even say everyone go follow him on Instagram at Jake Dupree. And he agreed. We have some mutual friends. And he agreed to do an interview for the show. It's on Patreon. You can go listen to it, And if you haven't listened to the interview, Taylor, I'm being serious. If you're out there and you're thinking, what the fuck would this guy have to say?
I'm going to tell you something. This is actually part of the story. I thought it was.
I'm only about 3 minutes into it, but I have started listening to it.
I'm going to tell you something. I thought it was going to make a 15-minute, 20-minute interview that I'd tack on to Rulaska Thoughts.
Yeah.
Taylor, we talked for over an hour on the interview.
I saw that it's like 72 minutes.
And we talked for 3.5 hours total. Like another 2.5 hours off the air. Now, look, this guy, don't get me wrong. I realize that I look like a Jabba the Hutt candle that's half melted and they haven't been thrown away yet, okay?
There it is. There we go.
But
okay.
So, not that I ever had a shot with him. I wasn't trying to get a shot. I just want to make that clear. I realize everything, okay? He's 30 and hot and was like the grand marshal of the West Hollywood parade. I wasn't even trying. It's one of the things where you don't even try, you know?
Yeah.
But in the phone call, he was like, "Oh my God, would you ever have me back on again? I loved being on the show. This was like the one I love this. Anytime I have a chance to talk about Drag Race, I would love to talk about it." And even off the air, he was saying this. He was like, "Can we please hang out sometime? You're like fucking cool." And I was like, "Oh wow." I'm like, again, not in a romantic way. I was just like, this guy that I think is funny and cool is actually thinks I'm funny and cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to hang out with him and his fancy gay friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, I text him about like, "Hey, thank you." And I essentially got that kind of response where I referenced something and he wrote like question mark. And then I like overly explained what I meant, the joke I made. And then I've literally heard nothing since. Like, no, by the way, it doesn't affect me at all. I never have to see Jake Dupree ever again, you know, in my life. But I just think I know what you mean, where you're like, "Oh, this is the beginning of a new friendship or something." And then the next day he's all like, "What? No." Like, yeah. That was essentially the one night stand of friendships. We had like the 3.5 hour conversation. We're done here.
I almost wish you hadn't told me that till after I listened to the episode. Because now I'm going to listen to it and I'm just going to make a face.
No, he's super nice. I don't think he means anything by it. I just think that that's just the way it is. You know, I'll tell you another story. I have a friend who works in show business. I'll say that. And he worked with Brad Pitt on a movie. Okay? And he and Brad Pitt hung out a lot during the movie. He was only on the movie for like a week or two. Okay? My friend. So at the end, he thinks that they're going to be like an exchange of numbers and like, okay, well, you know, it's nice. We should hang out now, you know? And Brad Pitt was like, "No, that was later, you know?" So like, it's one of the similar experiences that like the friendship lasted as long as you were working together. And I think that's common in show business. It's just sometimes you get tricked by it.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
But we still have each other.
We still have each other. Sha-la-la-la.
We've got tonight. Who needs tomorrow?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just here to sweep up the competition, girl. I am Monet Exchange, and you better get your currency in check, bitch. Oh my God! What the? You shady. I can't believe it. Monet is a very fun, effervescent personality, charming. Any single men out there are very charming.
All right, your thoughts on Monet Exchange, Shade of the Latte Boy.
Okay, going back to my thinking, putting them in the cookie cutter of other character, Bob. I immediately got Bob.
Well, he actually vocally sounds like Bob.
She vocally sounds like Bob, and she also kind of she's a healthy girl. Mm-hmm. So she looks like she's very tall and strapping. I like her. I definitely like her. I kind of am trying to remember the video. I'm looking at the picture, the cast photo that is on our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So, and she had the one with the blue lips and the blue wig and the real tight, which I thought was a really hot look. So, by the way, it's facebook.com/Drag Race Recap. If anybody wants to check us out. But again, she's somebody else that I liked. I got Bob.
I liked her a lot. Again, when she walked out, very similar to my experience with Cracker. Something I usually don't like, a gimmicky entrance like that. She came with a fucking broom, and I'm like, oh God. But I liked it. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked for me. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I liked her. But, you know, not to make any predictions or anything like that, but, like, I don't see anything special about her, but I don't see anything horrible about her. And based on that alone, there's no tea here. She seems very middle of the pack. Not a filler queen, but I don't see, unless there's some charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent that comes out in spades during this season. I just see it seemed very middle of the pack to me.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
Next into the workroom.
Well, I auditioned for Pit Crew, but this is going to be way more fun.
I'm Cameron Michaels, and I'm the muscle queen from Nashville, Tennessee. Outside of drag, I am a tatted muscle dude at the gym, and then I tuck it back, throw on some pads, and walk out looking fishy as I'm a little bit of grunge and a little bit of glamour.
All right, Cameron Michaels, Taylor the Latte Boy.
Cameron fascinates me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
No, I'm sure. I get, because I love this. This feels like the gender fuck. Obviously, if we're like this big muscle dude, but then we also, as you know, look all pretty and try to look fishy and everything. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of her makeup style. But the thing that bugs me, and there's another queen coming up later about this, is I don't get the whole huge chest plate tattoo, like where she has a beetle and then she also has the tattoos going up her neck and stuff like that. That is distracting to me as a viewer. That just may be because I'm an old man, but that is something that when I see that, no matter what she does, I'm focused on the tats sort of thing. You know, I mean, there's something that we'll talk about at some point, I'm sure, is Katya's new podcast, and she posted a picture of herself recently having gone through rehab and all that kind of stuff. And Katya's got tattoos now. And my first response when I saw her was, oh. Like, it was disappointing to me, because it feels like it's so rare that we have queens anymore that aren't all tatted up. Mm-hmm. So, and she's got them where she's got them go up and down her arms and everything now. And it just was, that's an unfortunate distraction for me. Mm-hmm. Do I not like her because of it? No. She's going to have to work a little bit harder for me to not pay attention to that.
I want to see more. Everyone talking about how hot she is as a boy. I'm not saying she's not. I need to see more, I think, before I make that my final Joe decision on this. But also, look, I think I've grown up with the show. And if you would have asked me season 6 or season 5 or 4, I would have told you fishiness was the ideal, and that was something to strive for. Now that's not necessarily important to me. I don't. If you're fishy and that's what you are, and that's great. But I don't think to be America's next drag superstar you need to be fishy, and I don't think that's something I'm not opposed to people who aren't fishy. Okay. So her aesthetic is fine. I thought it was interesting. You hardly ever see rocker girls. Adore is one of them, but yeah, that on the show. But this bitch is not fishy, and I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm just saying that I'm just calling it as it is. You know, it would be like if a black girl came in and said, like, I'm super pale, and you're like, no, you're not. You know, so that is like, she said she was like really fishy as fuck. I'm all like, your drag is fine, but like, you're not fishy. Like,
see,
someone even said that's a man.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, when you come in with, I mean, she had those guns that were just, you know, with the shoulders that look like softballs and everything. That can be, again, there's a distraction to it. But also, if it's something where she's playing with gender, I get that. And I appreciate that she's doing something slightly different, or doing something different from the usual fishiness.
And I'm fine with that. But then don't come in and say, I'm fishy as fuck.
Well, but
would Milk say he's fishy as fuck?
No, Milk would walk in and say, Zaddy's home.
Zaddy's home. All right, well, then, okay, so yes, anyway, so the point is, Karen Michaels seems fine, seems great. I have no problem with her. She looks fantastic. I just don't think she's fishy. Next into the workroom.
Guess who finally decided to crash the party?
Is that Mayhem? That's Miss Mayhem Miller, girl.
I'm Mayhem Miller, and I'm the queen of the party. My drag family has all the best girls that used to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. Morgan McMichaels, Delta Work, Detox, and I'm the best one out of all of them.
All right, Taylor Latte Boy, your thoughts on Mayhem Miller?
Kennedy Davenport. She looks like Kennedy Davenport.
I don't like these comparisons.
I can't help it. That's the first thing between this and watching the Meet the Queens video. That's the first thing that went through my head.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate her.
Sure. It's a good endorsement.
If we're starting off talking about all of the queens, you know, a lot of them have attachments to other queens, you know, as far as drag mother and daughter, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to become where that's the focus of, well, I'm from that Los Angeles group, and that to me is a little, but I've heard people talk about Mayhem Miller before, so I mean,
but she's clearly feeling some type of way because she mentions a couple of times the word party. And as for for those that don't know, Adore Delano is open about this. Adore Delano got the phrase party from Mayhem Miller. And gives her full credit. And so, but you tell Mayhem was like, that bitch stole that's my whole thing, and she stole it because she said like, I'm late to the party, and then she brings a party again, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be the thing where there's gonna be a mirror moment where she talks about how like she actually invented the word party.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't care because Dor gave me credit, but you know, blah 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 blah. So, I think she looked great. You're right. I could see her getting lost in the pack. She didn't have that sort of like personality that sparkled on TV.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is important for this competition. But she seemed fine. She seemed competent. The other girls seemed to be impressed by her. So, all right, let's move on to the next drag queen.
Hope you're ready for your all-carb, high-calorie diet. I'm Calorie Kardashian Williams, and I am sass, class, and a whole lot of ass. Calorie is pretty much the twerk queen. She can shake her ass like full-on, like booty shaking.
Calorie Kardashian Williams, Taylor the Latte Boy, your thoughts?
Two things. One, what?
Nothing?
Did you just say, oh no, under your breath?
Oh no, here we go.
No, these aren't bad things.
Jiggly Caliente.
No. Oh God, yes, Jiggly. I didn't even think of that.
Oh, making a joke.
So no, not Jiggly Caliente. I'm just kidding. I like something that is an overarching theme is it doesn't feel like it's just New York, Chicago, and LA queens.
Mm-hmm.
Blair said she's from Indianapolis, and Calorie said that she's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I know that another queen is coming up is from Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like that they're kind of from all over.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll help us to see a little bit more different aspects of drag. That's the first thing. Number two, Babalu was all about Calorie as a boy.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, he was kind of like, oh, he's cute.
Oh, really?
I kind of was like, all right. So you like the chubby, geeky ones. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I cried a little. But
then he loves you.
No, I know. I'm just teasing. Yeah. But no, I liked Calorie. I liked that she seemed to be super, she seemed fun. She made a couple of jokes as like, you know, tell me about the drag scene in Albuquerque. And she's like, what drag scene?
Yeah.
You know, willing to be self-effacing.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that doesn't become her MO of where she only talks about herself in the negative or talks about Albuquerque. You know, she's able to kind of be effervescent.
I'm very curious to see how big she is as a boy. I failed to believe that's how big she is. So she must use a lot of padding, I imagine. Because that was a huge behind and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I feel like they showed a picture of her, or I've seen a picture of her where she is kind of a big girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's the thing, though, is she seemed really nice. I don't know how much I don't know how much I was into her aesthetic so much. I think she looks like every one of my cousins.
Okay.
So I think that's why I was like, oh, you know, that's my cousin.
Okay, so I can't say Kennedy Davenport, but you can say your cousin?
My cousin's never been on the show.
That we know of.
Yeah, that'd be kind of great if she had been. All right, next into the workroom.
Cat, kitty, cat, 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 cat. Cat, kitty, cat, cat, cow. Bringing you the heart of season 10, honey. Monique Hart, the face. My name is Monique Hart. She's the razzle dazzle queen. A little sprinkle over here, a little glitter over there, honey. Yeah! She's gonna give you the ooh ah ah sensation, honey.
Taylor the Latte Boy, your thoughts on Monique Hart?
Shea Coulee.
Oh, really? I wouldn't call her Shea Coulee.
I got Shea Coulee from her. I got Shea Coulee from her look.
Mm-hmm.
And the, you know, cat, whatever, the, you know, the Ricky Tiki Tavi Tavi, was very, I came to slay. I'm not here to play. I came to slay. I kind of got that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm pussy, bitch.
So, but again, I liked her. I didn't love her. I liked her.
I'm with you. Seemed very middle of the road to me.
Yes.
I have no problem with her, but I'm just like, meh. I'll be with you for a while. I'll be surprised if you're here at the Snatch Game. You know?
Oh, no, I don't think she'll make it to famous last words. The winner of season 10.
I think she makes it to Snatch Game, I'll say. And this is not coming from any tea. I'm not trying. I know I have a show called The Rumor Mill, and you're like, oh, Joe knows the elimination order, blah, 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 blah. I'm still saying, just from what I see, she seems like someone who would make it past, but like, she's the first person to go home after Snatch Game in my head. Does that make sense? Like, they have Snatch Game, and then she's the first one gone.
I would not be surprised if she went home before Snatch Game. But at this stage, if she makes it to Snatch Game, okay, that's...
Yeah. All right, here we go. Next person in the workroom.
Never loved ya. My name is Dusty Ray Bottoms, and I'm from the best city on earth, New York City. Dusty Ray Bottoms is dark, glamorous, and trashy. She's also dyslexic.
All right, Taylor the Latte Boy, your thoughts on DRB, Dusty Ray Bottoms?
Acid Betty.
Okay.
I didn't think I was going to like her as much as I did in the Meet the Queens video.
All right.
She seems like she has a good pedigree. I want more. I want to know more. I think that I'm going to need something different. I know that the eyebrow, the dots on the eyebrow, that's her thing, and all that. But I'm going to want to see more to fall in love with her. What about you?
So before I watched it, I talked to Patreon co-host Evan Ayers. He was like all about Dusty Ray Bottoms. Loved her as a boy. And she has that haircut that's known now as Meet Me at McDonald's. Have you heard about this haircut?
No.
It's called Meet Me at McDonald's, which is so funny because I had to find the picture. There's a picture of me from college where I had that haircut and everyone made fun of me. And now it's like the hot, cool, young haircut, you know? Where it's like you're basically the sides of your head are shaved. You just have like a bunch of poofy, curly hair on top, you know?
Okay.
And he has that. I don't. What's funny is I had it in college and everyone made fun of me. And I thought I looked cool. I do not like it now. Maybe that's my old college wounds. So I've learned to hate it because of that. But I just do not like it. And I do not think he's that cute. He seemed fine. I actually see the acid. It's like if Tempest de Jour and Acid Betty had a kid and sent it to Drag Race.
Okay, I could see that. I could see a little Tempest du jour in there.
Yeah. And are you okay?
Yes, I just hit my wrist against my desk. It's fine.
Oh, you'll be hitting your wrist against the desk a lot over the next 10 days or so.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Masturbation. Anyway.
No,
speaking of Dusty Ray Bottoms, does he do it for you as a boy, Taylor?
He was kind of cute. He sort of looks like a ginger.
Oh, I love ginger,
I know you like ginger. Which when I saw him, I thought that's going to be one that Joe thinks is cute.
No, he didn't really do it for me.
I don't.
I need to see more of Dusty Ray Bottoms.
Yeah, so we're both kind of on the same page there.
Yeah. All right. Next into the workroom.
I'm just here to fight. The Vixen is magical, exciting, and unpredictable. When I'm on stage, I'm giving you earth, wind, and fire. I definitely am very influential in the Chicago drag scene. I am very vocal, And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, but I keep it real.
Taylor the Latte Boy.
The first one I do not like at all.
This is the other one that I think is so hot as a boy.
Oh, God, really?
Oh, I think he's
okay.
so
First of all,
cute as a boy.
Again, looking at all of their pictures, Sahara Davenport. But the whole, God, no. Just the I am better than you vibe that I'm getting off of this person is just gross. There's just something gross about the Vixen at this stage that I cut to 3 weeks from now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm Team Vixen. But I did not like this is up there. She is up there for me as possible season villain.
Oh, really?
The way that she is walking into this, yeah.
Did you know anything about her? Because you know she had a messy interview recently with Feast of Fun. Where
I heard you talking about, I am caught up on all the rumor mills for the last season that we did 17 years ago. And I did hear you say that she had a messy interview with them, but I don't really know anything about it.
Oh, okay. That's all I know as well. I think she's had a little bit. I think she's been up in her feelings a little bit since the end of the show online. I think and if anything, she's been very Nina Bonina Brown. I think a little bit with the social media. But I think she's so cute as a boy. Ugh, I was smitten with her as a drag queen. This is the one I probably would have said Shea Coulee with that aesthetic. First of all, they're both from Chicago. 2, there was a similar sort of amalgamation of things on her outfit that just didn't, they didn't go together. It was,
she had the stupid Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she's the one that I thought was Shea Coulee.
We all know the racist and think they all look alike.
Well, that's as I'm saying that, I'm like, oh God, am I mixing up the black queens? That's horrible.
Yeah. Everyone should know, for the longest time, Taylor just called me Poncho. Because he thought I was the guy who cleaned his apartment once a week.
By the way, my lawn desperately needs some maintenance. When are you going to get over here?
You see, guys? This is what I have to put up with on this show. Next into the workroom.
10 across the board. I'm Vanessa Vanjie Mateo, and get these cookies, baby. Vanessa's known for thotting and bopping like a hooker on Rodeo Drive. So she's kind of ghetto, but still, eloquent.
Eloquence, Taylor. Your thoughts on Vanessa Vanjie Mateo?
Aja. But she's okay. I don't know. I'm not a huge Banji girl.
Hey,
oh no, that's not true because I liked
Banji girl.
Banji girl. Banji girl, you're all my world. She's from Tampa, so she's a local girl for me. But you would think I'd be rooting for her a little bit more than I am. I don't know. And she has another one of those stupid neck things that's like right up under her, right on her chest, right below her neck. That is going to be distracting for me depending on what she's wearing.
I also just can't stand the way she talks. Like, it's just gonna bother me. It's just gonna have seniors in me. Like, would you dance 10 cans across the board to book a bitch with the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah, we're trying a little too hard. We're Madonna trying to be British. Only we're a Tampa queen trying to be Banji. So she's not somebody I don't
know. I mean, I know Alexis Mateo did very well on the show. She did well on All Stars 2 as well, But it's one of these things that, like, first of all, is she going to be doing like this all day?
Bam!
Well, she did drop it in. Didn't she drop in
Bam!
during the episode, or did someone else do it?
I don't remember. But that speaks to when I saw her, I wasn't like, ooh, who is this?
Only in America now, a woman like me have a freaking chorizo!
Say hi to Manila.
Oh, do you want to?
Sure.
Hi, Manila. I just saw Manila, girl.
We also have...
Act the fool, girl. Act the fool.
I've never heard that one, which is surprising because I'm surprised you haven't played that at me at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's okay. She's all right.
I'm curious to hear how all these go. Now, here's the one I feel we're going to be talking about this bitch a lot.
Bonjour! My name is Aquaria, and I am a superstar. Aquaria is the name on everyone's lips in New York City. I can tell that every girl in the room knows exactly who this bitch is. Oh my god! And, they should.
Taylor?
Looks-wise,
yeah,
I get Pearl. Attitude-wise, I get Milk. I did not like her at all. I didn't like her in the Meet the Queens video. In fact, she's the first one on the Meet the Queens video that we got through iTunes. And watching that, my first thought was, oh, God, if they're all like this, I'm going to hate this season.
Well, she's also the one that said the opening line, which is...
I don't define drag. Drag is defined by me.
Fuck off. That's the first thing when she said that. I'm like, you're like 12. You don't know. No.
Well, also the statement makes no sense. Listen to it. Listen to it.
I don't define drag.
I don't define drag. Okay.
Drag is defined by me.
That's the same fucking thing. I think she meant to say, drag doesn't define me.
I define drag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then we're an idiot too.
Yeah.
Because you and I never get sentences or sentence syntax or grammar mixed up at all on here.
Well, no, but she clearly thought that one out. That's like a line she showed up with.
Yeah, well...
Okay, so go ahead. You don't like her?
I'm not impressed. I have heard rumblings, I think, through you, that she is going to be messy for however long she's on the show. And I could see her being somebody that I really dislike. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think I am. But, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And my first impression of her was you're not as cute as you think you are. What do you think?
Well, I've never heard anyone quote a Head and Shoulders commercial before on a show. One, two. Look, as a boy, she can fucking get it. So yes, she is like Pearl.
Well, I immediately, as a boy, Valentina, right down to the turtleneck and the Sharpie eyebrows.
She's definitely hearkening back to some Valentina, but I think Valentina tried to be nice. You could tell she was not a nice person pretending to be nice. Aquaria's just letting it all hang out, and I don't know. I do not find her likable at all. She seems like I've actually been thinking about this guy. I know a lot of the young kids really like her and they like her aesthetic. But I also think, and I think there's a sort of rebellion to her. That's why a lot of young kids will attach themselves to her because she's very young. And they'll see it as like, yeah, she's sticking up to these grown-ups who think they know better. So I think a lot of adolescents have that. Like, we know better. We're young, and we know better, and we're going to show you,
Okay, but the problem with that, and that's something that every generation has done, where we say, yeah, we know better than the adults. A lot of times the adults do know better. And we just want to just stick it to the man because, they're telling us that we can't do what we want to do.
I think that there's good and bad to both. Like, not to get controversial here, but if you take the Parkland high school kids, there is an element of that whole phenomenon. I'm not taking sides on this issue, even though I have a pretty safe bet that a lot of our listeners are pro gun control, but maybe not. I'm not taking a stand on this issue. What I am saying though is that there is something inspiring, that there is something about the belief of the youth that they can make a change. And that's actually what drives change. And young people can do that because they have the energy and they still believe that can happen. And I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying because it happens because they manifest it because of that energy.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I think there are positive, and as I was saying that went through my head too, the kids that are working on that. But it's for some of the other stuff.
No, you're right. But there's wisdom that comes. They need to go hand in hand. The old people need the energy, and the young people need the wisdom. Because what happens is, like, let's say the Parkland people get. They have Coney 2012 is a good example of this, right? Where remember Coney 2012, Taylor, when those young people decide they were gonna do this social media campaign and we're gonna bring down this warlord in Africa, and they get the intention of the entire world, and then they weren't prepared, and it just fucking crumbled, not horribly so. Like it was like a meteor, okay? And I think it's the same. And so anyway, going back to Aquaria. With the Parkland people, yeah, like when they have the energy, but then sometimes you see them on interviews, and whenever they talk for a really long time and they don't have prepared speeches, they start to sound like children.
Yes, the two of them were on Bill Maher a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking, you have some really good points, but now you're just doing to the where you're starting to drop the F-bomb and stuff because you're realizing you're on TV and you can do that, and it's trying to. It just sounded very immature.
A really good example is actually during, not one of those kids you see all the time, is during the CNN town hall, and that one kid nails Marco Rubio and is like, are you willing right now to say that you will not take money from the NRA or whoever, right? And the whole crowd goes crazy, right? But that's the part we saw. But if you watch the actual clip, then he gets energized by the crowd and he starts saying like stupid shit, and you're like, ugh, that's where you need an older person, who has the wisdom to know, okay, now what do I do with this energy, and then that's where the young people don't do it. Going to Aquaria has that youth and that cockiness that comes with youth, right? But I feel something. It's going to come crumbling down. It may not even be on this show. It could be afterwards. Because the problem when you're young and hot and people want to fuck you is they let you do whatever you want.
Right.
That's the problem.
As Pedro at Angels in 1996 learned, or rather, I learned the lesson.
Would you ever really date a stripper though?
No, I would never. I never had the opportunity. I think that I would not be opposed to dating anybody. Getting to know somebody, if they said, well, this is what I do for a living, I would be fascinated. I have a million questions. I would be willing to date them. I don't know how I would do long term in something like that. What about you?
No, not because they're a stripper. I can't imagine a universe where I have anything in common with a stripper.
Okay.
By the way, I dated someone.
But that's also how you get to know whether or not you have things in common. Because that may be something where you guys have a love of Drag Race, or you guys enjoy the same music, or, you guys both like, I know that you like, you're a foodie. Maybe they're a foodie too. So there are ways that we find out things like that.
You know what's so funny is I would totally date a porn star. I don't know why stripper is the weird thing where I'm like, huh.
Is it because there's something glamorous, especially at this point in time, about porn stars, that strippers, you immediately go to the place where they're stripping it on a Tuesday afternoon on Hollywood Boulevard someplace, and they're letting old man, with porn stars, there may be a feeling of that they have some control over who they have sex with and what they're doing and that kind of stuff, because they can say, I refuse to work with that actor, that kind of stuff. With a stripper may be where once they're up on stage, or once they're in that back room doing a lap dance, they kind of just sort of, whoever's there in front of them, they want to make $1, they have to dance for them. I'm speaking in gross stereotypes, and for any of our listeners who may be strippers or porn stars, I apologize. That's not, but I'm just wondering if it's that initial consultation. Not consultation.
Yeah, I think what it might be is the sort of uncomfortable dialogue there is between the stripper and the people ogling them. That it makes me uncomfortable. Whereas with a porn star, like for instance, it's not like this podcast, but like on this podcast, you and I record this podcast, and I don't like to get too much in my head about it, but we're recording this right now. We're going to put it out, and then people will listen to it in the privacy of wherever they listen to the podcast. We're not there. It's not a situation where it's like that one-on-one right in front of you. And I think porn is like that. In most situations, you're not doing porn in front of people. It's filmed in a controlled environment, and then people consume it in the privacy of their own homes.
Right.
But with a stripper, there is a relationship between these people sitting there watching this person. Does that make sense? And I think I find that uncomfortable.
Well, it's almost, it is more intimate than fucking on camera. Because we were talking about this today, my support group that I'm running for my clients. One of the clients wanted to talk about loneliness. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how in 1980, 20% of the population classified themselves as lonely most of the time. Mm-hmm. Now we're at 40% in the United States. So we were looking at, well, what could some of the reasons be for that? And then we were talking about technology, how people are more connected, yet they're more isolated because everything is when you text people or if you're watching porn or whatever you're doing it through a device. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you have somebody in front of you, even if it's those micro relationships where you say, hey, how you doing when you're walking up and down an aisle at a grocery store, there is still that connection. There is still that pheromones. There is still that electricity that goes through people that you can't get that same thing through holding a phone or watching something on TV.
Yes, but I think it's going back to my example that I talked about earlier, or with you talking about your story, is a lot of stripping is based on a lie. There's no implicit lie in in porn, which is in porn you're watching two other people have sex, or maybe they're jacking off. But in stripping, I'm talking about the part where you get to like, lap dances and whatnot. They lead you to believe. So a stripper has to essentially at least fake it that you have a chance with them. I've never been to a strip place, a strip bar or anything like that.
I have a strip club story that I'll tell you another time. It's not my proudest moment, but I'll tell you about it a different time because we're starting to run a little late here.
Well, when I was younger, I wasn't quite in college. I think I just finished college. I went to a gay bar, right? Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to go with a girlfriend of mine. And she ditched me. Not in a mean way. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't make it, actually. So I was already at the bar waiting for her, right? Mm-hmm. And I met a guy. And I always talk about this story. I don't mention the end of the story, but I've often talked about part of the story, which is I was like 21 or 22, and he was 27. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, I'm hooking up with an older guy, right? So, I don't know why this happened. He told me his name was Steve, and I was like, hey, Steve, I'm actually not gay. I'm straight. I don't know why he said this, right?
You said that
to him? I
said
to him, right? And he was like, oh, whatever. And then we started making out.
Meanwhile, your shirt was tied in and unbuttoned and tied in a knot.
I was standing on a speaker blowing a whistle. So
you were drinking a big fruity drink with a bunch of fruit in it and an umbrella.
Yeah. So anyway,
and getting fucked in the ass by three big black eyes.
Well, we're gonna get close. Look. So anyway, he and I hit it off, and we started making out. He goes, you want to go back to my place? I live around the corner or something like that. So I went to his place, and we had sex, right? Mm-hmm. And, there's an important part of the story. We showed up to his place, and in the corner of his bedroom was a folded towel and lube. And I was like, that's weird. Did he know he was gonna like this is so weird, right? I'm like, whatever. So we hook up and we have sex, and actually in the middle of sex I go, I gotta tell you something. I'm not really straight. He goes, I gotta tell you, my name's not really Steve. Right? So we have sex, I leave, whatever. He lives in the same neighborhood as another gay cousin that I have, right?
Okay.
So I'm talking to that gay cousin later. I go like, oh, listen, I think I met someone. I don't know if you know him, though. You live in the same neighborhood. What's the odds of you guys knowing him? I go, do you know a guy named Blank? I don't want to give his name. He goes, oh, yeah, he's like one of my best friends. He's a male escort. And I was like, no, but the reality, I was like, what? And then it all made sense to me, like why there was a folded towel and like a bottle of lube already waiting there, you know?
Right.
And that was my so I've actually never paid for sex, but I have had sex with a male escort.
Okay.
Well, that concludes this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Make sure and join us for our next episode where we actually cover the very first episode. But until then, for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself,
sashay away until next week.
Want to share your thoughts about Drag Race? Email us at dragracerecap@gmail.com. If you want to help the show, leave us a review on iTunes. The more positive reviews we get, the higher we move up in the rankings, and that helps the show find a bigger audience. If you want to help the show even more, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/dragracerecap. For as little as $1 a month, you gain access to exclusive bonus content not available on the main podcast feed. For up-to-the-minute news about the show, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dragracerecap and follow us on Twitter at dragracerecap. To find all of our old episodes, visit us at our website at dragracerecap.com. Taylor has his own podcast. It's called Pod Is My Co-Pilot, and you can find it at podismycopilot.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor on Instagram and Twitter at PIMCTaylor. Want to hear me talk about Drag Race even more? Well, then listen to me on One-on-One with Larry Flick every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on Entertainment Weekly Radio, Channel 105 on Sirius XM Radio. You can also find me on my other podcast, Catching Up with Mike and Joe, available at catchinguppodcast.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joe Betance, that's JoeBetance.